High on a hill that no one knows, I'll lay me down where the cold wind blows, and I will wait for you.
I remember when we met.
You do?
I torpedoed your song on Atlantic Records.
Yes, yes, you did.
I remember calling my brother. I said, when I started writing, I said, "You're never going to believe who I'm going to be writing with today." He said, "Who?" I said, "It's the Chaters. You remember the Chaters?" I said, they wrote Trouble at the Door.
Which was the title of your album?
It was on Atlantic Records a long time ago when the dinosaurs still were. But he said, "I can't believe they're going to write with you after you torpedoed her."
Left off the concluding verse.
Uh-oh.
Not
So
just that.
We don't know how the story ends.
I got thrown off the label.
Didn't it come on Billboard with 99 with an anchor or something?
Yeah.
It's on Billboard. It's off Billboard. Oh, that was quick. What time is it?
I did do a video though.
You know, we're still getting paid for that every quarter.
You
Somebody's doing it. Absolutely.
I've never earned a nickel.
We are. We're getting paid something. You know, I mean, it's like $5 or $10, but still, it's how many years later? 15 years later.
It's a long time.
Yeah, somebody still likes that song.
I think you were at the.
I was.
You came
Actually,
to the.
Carrie and I had the same. I mean, Mr. Recluse, he never leaves the house, and it.
And she says that on tape.
And it was. We had two things to do in one night, and so we flipped for it, and he lost, so I got to go to your show.
She went to my showcase, and I remember being so flattered that you were there.
It was so great, and then Rick paid us to write with you.
That's what I thought happened. I know, so I can't remember. How did that happen, by the way?
He came up because I had known you guys from reading all that fan mail. Buckets and buckets of fan mail. And so I went up to say hi because I was so starstruck by you. I mean, you did great on your showcase. And I came up and Rick said, you know, well, Donna's starting to write now. And I said, well, have her come over.
And I did. And that was 15 years ago, 10 years ago. But they have a lovely round glass table in this part of their home that has little windows all around it. And that's where we would sit every Monday to write. So I sort of learned through the love of the Chaters. They tenderly taught me the game. And through that, at one point, I remember getting this nice request from Mr. Chater. Said, hey, could I interest you in helping out at my church for this one song? And I said, sure, I'll help you. He said, we have a little choir that's starting and we need like a lead singer for this one song. I said, sure, I'll help you. I'd be glad to help you. Of course, they waited till I said, sure, I'll help you. And then he says, it's 13 rehearsals. I was like, okay. So then I joined the church that Kerry was the choir director and Lynn was, you were almost the whole alto section, weren't you?
I was,
yeah,
yes.
Until I joined, and then
That's
it was
right.
the two of us. And through that, we started another journey on writing where we started writing only Christian music for a long while. And then, lo and behold, I got a bluegrass deal. So I called him up and said, hey, y'all want to write some bluegrass music? And I remember, I think the first time that we wrote, that I was, launched on this bluegrass journey, and you picked your guitar up for the first time in a long time. And you said, I don't know how I'm going to write this bluegrass stuff. And we wrote He Will. And you did that cool, He Will. I just remember being sold on the melody on one line. And so anyway, that's our story. With the three of us, we never have a game plan going into the writing. We just sort of sit around and everybody's catching up, and because they're my good friends too. Yeah, we're eating, and Lynn's a great cook, and so we sit around sharing, and then something will pop up, some line will pop up. But this day, I was talking about my grandparents, my Italian grandparents, and Kerry said, well, that's the song, and he just launches in. Of course, Lynn and I are frantically looking for the tape recorder. Wait, hold on, Kerry.
Hit record, record.
He'll always go, not this button, we're both leaning over.
And he comes out with his brilliance.
Yeah. It's an easy relationship. I think it was easy right off the bat. I don't know, if your other co-writers are as easy as me.
Of course not.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
Of course not. You're royal awesome.
You didn't even respond. Demerit.
Well, I love how you came to the game with so much excitement and some real creative stuff. It just was wonderful. And I know Lynn and I talked about it when you weren't there as to, wow, this girl's really a writer. And she just is born to it and comes right in and gets it right off the bat and goes for some good stuff.
The way you twist lines and your inner rhymes are just remarkable. That's what being the lyricist, I love the inner rhymes and the way you come at a song from a different point of view.
Well, I just love that both of you are great teachers, because honestly, when I was starting this journey, I was filled with self-doubt. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And both of you being so patient, it's been a great journey.
And of course, you're my voice in the shower. I sound like you in the shower. You're the voice I wish I had. So all the time I'm singing and going, I sing like Donna.
So I recorded this song that we wrote on this new album, on the Easy Climb album, and I can't wait. I've got a pretty good, we've mixed it, so I bring it over, and I love watching Lynn watch a song. So, 2 notes into the intro, and she's weeping from every pore of her body.
Well, I can remember why we wrote it and the story behind it, and the fact that you were related, or was it your niece?
My niece. This day, I was excited because I think we'd had a hiatus. I was touring a lot, so it's made a big difference in how often I get to co-write these days. But I had called Lynn and she said, yeah, sure, come over, let's write. So we do a thing, and I think in between the 2 weeks before when I made the appointment, my niece, who is just this young, pretty girl, too young to be married, calls and she says, Aunt Donna, I'm in Clarksville, and I would love to come by and see you. I've got someone I want to introduce you to. Of course, this was just right out of the blue, and she comes here with her new husband, and he's all pretty in his little his army uniform, and he's going to Afghanistan, and so they felt led to get married so that they'd be married when he left. And I came over the next day, the day after they left, and I was telling you guys this, and I think you started with that very first line.
And I will wait for you up there until I feel you in the air. My love has come where the cold wind blows. It burns my skin right through my clothes, cuts to the heart and to my soul, and sorrow grows where the cold wind blows.
What I always think of Lynn, her role is you're like a stream of consciousness, and she'll always through something, there'll be a line that was like, what'd you just say? And she'll go, wait, rewind. And then, I don't know, she'll start talking, and I'm always like thinking and looking for an angle. You always go out to take a break and come back and
and
not this,
happens.
but
yeah,
and that'll be the
happens.
first line.
Well,
And,
for me, what happens is that Donna will come in with an experience. Hey, I just talked to my niece, Anne. She's gonna
that's
marry
Molly,
someone.
dog.
And then Lynn will say, okay, well, what's the story in that?
Yeah,
And so what I'll do is I'll take it out of anything personal,
yeah.
and I'll start to think, okay, let's make up a story about, because obviously this song goes beyond the actual what's happening. But it goes for me, it's almost like a movie in my mind. I say, okay, well, if you start with that premise, then what's the real story there? What if?
You always tap into the emotion
Yeah.
somehow, and you match it with a chord, and that always overwhelms me every time I watch that happen with you. I think that's why we cry.
That's why we cry.
My love has gone.